Hi, I'm Dawson Duke,
I'm Kayla Bullock.
and this is Horror Hideout. We're going to be covering everything horror, including books, video games, movies, and comics. Welcome back to Horror Hideout, and we're covering 30 Days of Night today.
From 2017. I'm sorry,
2007.
2007.
Um, so this movie takes place in Barrow, Alaska, and this is our non-spoiler area.
Right.
And is it this region of Alaska? Is it the entirety of Alaska? I don't know how that works.
It is not. Barrow, Alaska is the northernmost town in the United States, so it gets hit like this. Um, but so in the movie, it's 30 days of night. In reality, it's 67 days. But they also don't have, it's not. So in the movie, the sun sets, they watch the sun go down, and it is dark for 30 days straight. They actually have twilight every day in there from, like, I think it said 1 to 4 p.m. every day. So the sun sets every day. So they
Yeah.
actually have some light. So they took some liberties with it. But 30 Days of Night, it focuses on Josh Hartnett, who plays Sheriff Eben, and Melissa George, who plays Stella. And basically, the town of Barrow goes dark for 30 days every winter. And this year, there are vampires.
Yeah, it's the perfect place for vampires because there's no sunlight.
Right.
Um,
And I will put this out there right now. I am not a huge vampire movie fan. I personally, I think there's been movies that have ruined the genre. I think they've made them what vampires shouldn't be. But these vampires are friggin' scary.
I I have not seen a whole lot of vampire stuff to be honest. Like I've seen the original Nosferatu and stuff, but I think this and I Am Legend are two of the most cool and creative ways I've seen vampires be used.
This one, I think they're scary in this movie, and I don't know if it's just the way they look.
Yeah,
I've got some things I'm going to talk about later on when we get into there, but so spoiler free review or overview. It's basically 30 days of people trying to survive vampires.
yeah, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot more to say that doesn't give away
Yeah,
more of the in depth of the story.
and it's a very good movie. It never feels slow or like it's like you're waiting for stuff. Like it's very
There's always action, but
yeah.
it's also not
There's breathing
so
room.
yeah, it's not so fast paced that you can't keep up with what's going on.
Yeah,
And
like
you get to know the characters, you connect with the characters.
I was taking notes and I don't feel like I missed anything while I was taking notes.
Right. I paused it a few times.
I did
But,
too,
yeah.
but for the most part.
So that's basically our spoiler free review.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get into the details of the movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But here we go. So, like we said, it takes place in Barrow, Alaska, and the movie starts out with giving us some facts. It's the northernmost town in the United States. It's isolated by 80 miles of wilderness, and then, of course, we talked about the winter, um, which, like I said a minute ago, they take some liberties with the area and how it actually goes down.
Well, I do have a question though, because the reason I asked before why if it's just this town is because in the movie, near the end, when they talk about how they need to get rid of the vampires, what they say is they could attack the other towns around here. So is it just that region? Like, do you know how
I
much of an area it covers?
I think from the movie perspective, Barrow had the longest
But the other ones just
area.
sound shorter.
So maybe it's like 28 days and
Yeah.
then 20,
Yeah.
depending on how far away they are from the sun, from the poles,
Yeah,
the pole.
and that makes sense.
I think is what they meant, is how I took it. But again, it's not really real how it
Yeah.
really happens anyway. I mean, not that vampires are real, but
Oh
know
yeah,
what I
and
mean.
one thing I wanted to mention is this is based off a 3-issue comic series, and
But
I'm
I
all about
cannot wait to
comics.
read.
And I'm all about comics. I did not get a chance to read it before this.
I can't wait to read it. Not weed it. Read it. So our movie opens up with a guy standing in an open field with snow everywhere, and he's watching a ship that's floating in the icy water. He's alone. There's nothing anywhere around him but snow and ice. Um, he finally sees a town. Frostbitten. He just
Yeah.
looks horrible. He finally sees a town, and then we cut to Eben and Deputy Wilson.
Yes. Sheriff Eben,
Sheriff Eben.
and his last name's
Which
Olson. I don't know if that matters,
I
but
did not know until I watched it this time. I've always, because I had closed captionings on, but I always thought his name was Evan, but it's Eben
yeah,
with a B.
yep.
So,
I always watch movies with closed captioning on because I learn things. Like whenever you asked me when we did the Mayhem review, go watch that if you haven't. Um, Whenever you asked me what he says there, that's how I knew is because the subtitle, which he's he says the toast thing. You can read it with the subtitles. So
yeah, go watch the Mayhem video. It was pretty good.
yeah, so it's the last day of Sun,
Yep.
and they're Eben and Billy, right? Yeah, right.
Is Wilson his last name then?
Billy's the other cop, right?
Oh, I thought it was Wilson. I thought
No, Wilson. Wilson.
I wrote down Wilson. I must have written down the wrong name. You're right. It's Billy
Okay, yeah.
because he comes into play later on.
Yeah. Anyway, so Billy and Eben have found all their satellite phones in town in a pile of burned,
Right.
and they're theorizing on who they think would have done it. And Billy puts out that maybe it was kids just messing around, but Evan says, I think if it was kids, they would have left a note like "F you" or something.
Right. Right.
So
So they watch part of the sunset for a month, and it's this what Dawson was just talking about with the satellite phones is kind of foreshadowing. But anyway, so they're driving back to town, and I wrote down the exact numbers. He stops and changes the population on their sign from 500 and something
to
to
100.
152. Um, which another thing that in my research I found out was that the population of Barrows is actually 400, or I'm sorry, 4,000. So they really scaled it down for the movie, which
Yeah.
4,000 people would be way too much for a movie, but
I'm interested to know if the comic takes place in Barrow, Alaska specifically, or if they leave it vague.
I don't know if I wrote it down, but it's actually not Barrow is not the actual name of the town.
Like
It
in real
used to
life.
be. It used to be, but they've renamed it. And then also Eben, what's his last name?
Olson.
The real sheriff of that town, his name is something close to Eben Olson, but they changed it for the movie.
Mm.
But it's close. It's kind of like a nod to him actually being the sheriff there. So then the next scene, the beginning feels kind of jumbled because you're cutting through all
Yeah.
these scenes and you're meeting lots of different people in
But
town.
it makes sense.
It does, yeah. So then we cut to a lady we find out later is Stella, and she's inspecting the fire trucks.
Yes.
There's a guy that's talking to her and mentions that her and Eben should reconsider their separation.
Is it Billy that she's talking to there?
No, I don't think so because Billy's the one that takes her to the airport, and that's
Yeah.
when he tells her he
Yeah.
needs to know what happened. I don't think it's Billy.
Okay.
It might be, but I don't
I'm
think
just
it is.
I feel like it was because I feel like he says something about me and Peggy think, which I know he says that later in the car, but I thought here
Oh, maybe
this
it
is when
is.
I thought this was when Peggy was mentioned for the first time.
Again, I was trying to keep
Yeah,
up with who
yeah.
everybody was, so maybe it was Billy. So then we got to another scene where they're downtown and a bunch of people are leaving town. They're getting on the buses. They're getting on the last air flight out of Barrow. I did see a thing that said that doesn't happen either. Like their airport, there's one flight in and out of there at least one flight in and out of there every day, even when it's dark
Yeah.
the whole time. Um, but again, for the movie purposes, it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, it just worked. So
Suspension of disbelief can get you real far if your idea is cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it wouldn't have been as fun if people were flying in every day for
Yeah.
30 days. Let's just run to the airport and then we don't have to worry about it. So then again, we skip to another scene where it's a bunch of dogs in town that are barking in a kennel, and we see a silhouette basically, and somebody stabs the dogs.
Yes. And they're sled dogs.
Yes.
And they're John Reese's sled dogs.
Yes. So then again, we jump back.
Yep.
We jump back into town, and we meet Bo, who is kind of a rough.
When do we see Eben use his inhaler? Because it's somewhere around here. I don't know exactly when, but we see him use his inhaler for the first time.
I
Because that
think
comes
that's
back into play later.
when.
Is it when we first meet him, or
I
is
think
it?
it's when he gets the call on the CB about the dogs because he's
Okay.
kind of stressed. But Bo, we meet Bo. He's a rough mountain man. Lives out. They talk about this. He doesn't live in town. He lives
Yeah.
out on the outskirts of town.
But Eben gives him a ticket to show him he still is considered part of the town.
Right. He's working on his truck,
Yeah.
which is a big truck, which is important later on.
Yeah.
And he's got oil leaking on the road, so he gives him a ticket. And you can kind of tell there's kind of some animosity between the two of them anyway. I don't know what's happened before, but you
Yeah.
can tell there's kind of animosity between the
It's
two
kind
of
of
them.
that thing where Bo is one of those guys that just wants to live off the land and like doesn't want people bothering him, and he moved out there so that he didn't have to follow laws. Like
Yeah,
he,
yeah. And that's what Dawson said. Eben tells, is it Billy or Wilson?
I think it's Billy.
Tells Billy that he has to.
I don't think Wilson's a cop.
Well, then Billy couldn't have been the one talking to Stella
Why?
because he's with Eben. So after Eben gives the ticket and talks to Billy about giving the ticket to Bo, they get a call on the CB about the dogs.
Yes.
And so he says he's going to go out there. And then we cut to Stella. And she is racing against the clock to get back to get to the airport to fly out before they close the airport for the 30 days.
Yeah.
Um, but she gets hit by a big piece of equipment driven by Malachi.
And
it pretty much totals
do you
her
know
truck.
what kind of equipment that is? Is it just like is it a logger, some kind of logging thing? Because it's basically just a gigantic chainsaw on the front.
It's yes, because Bo's driving it later on.
Yeah.
They say what it is.
Oh, do they? I knew Bo drove it later on. I didn't know they said what it is. So it's a trencher.
Yes. Um, she's okay. Malachi's okay. He apologized to her, but she's freaking out because she doesn't think she's going to get to the airport.
Yeah, and the truck is totaled. And this is when it really comes into play that Eben and Stella are split up.
Right.
They were married.
They are married. They're still
Okay.
married because at some point they refer to her as his wife.
Yeah, Jake says it later in the movie.
Yeah.
Um,
We find out later on it has a lot to do with the fact that she wanted kids and he did not want
Yeah.
kids. But to me, with their relationship, it doesn't seem like they really talk a whole lot
They
since he
don't.
left.
Yeah.
So she calls Eben and says, "Hey, I need a ride to the
And-
airport," and he says,
You're in town? I didn't
"Yeah,
even know that.
like I didn't even know you were here."
You didn't want to talk to me?
And so he sends, and she's like, "We can talk on the way to the airport." And he said, I don't remember what he says.
He says he's helping John Reese with his dogs.
That's right.
So he sends Billy to go
Yeah.
get her.
And so Billy picks her up and kind of gets lost. And I kind of got the impression he got lost getting to her
Yeah.
on purpose to
'Cause
keep her there.
Yeah, he said he got confused on which street she was on.
Yeah.
And
And I
I
mean, they're in the middle of nowhere.
That's what I
There's
was gonna
probably
say.
only one real way to get to the airport. But I kind of felt like he did it on purpose because him and Eben are pretty good friends.
Yeah. So she ends up missing her flight.
Yeah. And this is where they get to the airport and she says, "I can't stay here." And he says, "Well, you can stay with us,
Yes.
but it's going to cost you the story of what happened between you and Eben."
Yes.
And she says,
And Billy,
what does she
I'm-
say?
I'm just going to say this real quick. Billy lives with his wife Peggy and his daughters.
Yes, 2 daughters. She says something about there's not enough time in this century to tell you what all the
Yeah.
issues were with Eben. It is not a love story. I'm throwing that out there right now. That's just kind of a background
Yeah.
story that's going on.
Subplot.
Yeah. So then we cut to just a small scene where we cut to the dead dogs at John's, and him and his wife are really upset, and Eben promises that he's going to find who did it, and they say there that it was every single sled dog in
Yes.
town.
So does that imply that other houses had their do killed, or do you think that John Reese just kept all the sled dogs?
I kind of thought that because everybody was leaving town, I thought maybe
That's
he
what
was like
I
a
felt
boarding
like, yeah.
place for all the dogs. So I don't think, in my mind, they weren't all his, but
Yeah.
he was like for that 30 days, he was the boarder for all of them. Because that was a lot of dogs.
I know.
Um, so then we cut to the sheriff's office, and I was a little confused because Jake is Eben's brother. He's a younger guy,
Yes.
but Jake is Eben's brother. Helen,
Is their grandma.
but is she Eben's grandma? Because he calls her Helen. He doesn't call her grandma.
I know, but Jake calls her Grandma Helen. And he just. I don't know. I mean, they
I
never
was really
clarified that.
confused. I was really confused by Grandma Helen. I
Yeah.
liked Grandma Helen, but I was a little confused because I
They
couldn't
never.
figure out, like,
They never clarify that, and it could be a thing because later on, whenever they go to the grandma's house, Jake says he's more familiar with it than him. So it might be a thing of it's not their grandma. It could be it's not actually their grandma at all. Like no blood relation. He just calls her grandma because he grew up with her.
but he lives there.
I know. He moved in with her. It could also be a thing of it is Eben's grandma, and he was never close to her, and she was always just Helen to him.
Right.
So it could be they have different
Okay.
parents somewhere along the line.
Yeah. I thought that relationship was a little confusing. I liked Grandma Helen though, and she is actually acting as the dispatcher.
Yes.
Um, and of course Eben's just having a heck of a day with everything that's already gone on, the cell phones and the dogs, and
Yeah.
um, he walks in and she tells him that Carter and Wilson have called about vandalism.
Yes.
Um, and we kind of jumped ahead, but this is where Stella and Billy have their conversation after she misses her flight.
Yes. So Carter and Wilson. Does Carter work at is okay, first of all, is the factory the
Utilidor?
Yes. I was gonna ask, is the factory the Utilidor?
Yes.
Okay. That's
and
what I
the
thought.
only reason I know that is because I don't even know. I put down compactor, but I don't think it's a compactor. But the thing with
Yeah,
all
the
the
grinder.
teeth, grinder, thank you, comes into play when they're at the Utilidor later on at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I knew what that was.
Because whenever they kept saying, "Oh, we can live through it if we make it to the Utilidor," I didn't know what they were talking
Yeah.
about.
And I think so. Yeah. So it's this big building on the end of town. I kind of got the impression it was like their trash collection.
Yeah, it's like a
Place.
factory though.
I mean,
like in the interior looks like a factory. Like there's piping everywhere.
Yeah. So they didn't really explain what all the Utilidor does.
Yeah, and there's like a big industrial grinder.
Yeah, huge. I mean, he said he pulled bicycles out of there before,
Yeah.
which gives you an idea how big this thing is. Um,
As soon as I saw it, I knew someone was getting tossed in there.
uh, so they throw Eben in, and that's the end of the movie. The end. So Wilson works at the Utilidor, right?
I don't know
Or
if
is
he
it
works
Carter?
there. I think
Carter-
Carter works
Okay,
there.
Carter
It's
works
Wilson's
there.
helicopter.
So they say that Wilson's helicopter has been destroyed by vandals,
Yes, someone
And
stripped parts of it and threw the parts in the thing.
and they call it the Muffin Monster. I don't know why, but that's what he
Yeah.
calls it, is the Muffin Monster, which is the grinder that
Yes.
Dawson mentioned. But Carter says he saw the helicopter's logo on the headset, and that's what made him stop
Yeah.
it. And so
And we see it grind up one of the propellers because Wilson gets mad and throws it in there
Yeah.
while it's going,
Yeah.
and we see it crush it, and
and
it takes nothing.
I mean,
to,
he says that's his livelihood.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
he said he'd put it up for
for the
he
night.
put it up a couple weeks ago and hadn't looked at it
Yeah.
when the tourists left. So my thinking is it's probably like a tourist helicopter where you go
Yeah.
there and you just
You pay-
the 30
you pay to
minute
go up in
flights
the
or
air.
whatever. Yeah. But again, foreshadowing, they're cutting off their ways out of town.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't. Malachi hitting Stella's car. Do you think there was any interference there that they made that happen?
no,
I didn't think so either, but
I don't think so because other people got out of town.
yeah. But because I thought when it first happened, I thought it was going to turn out that Malachi was like a vampire.
Yeah. No. I don't. Do we even see Malachi
I don't think so.
again?
I think that's the only time we see
his
him.
only part. Like that's
Yeah.
it. But there's also some bloodbath scenes where there's 50
Yeah.
people getting murdered. So maybe he was. I don't know. Um,
After that's when we see the first person die, right?
yes. So then we jump to I put down that it was a weather station. Is that what you got out of it that it was?
I didn't really know.
It's kind of this room. There's a guy by himself.
Yeah.
It's got a antenna on top, like a satellite dish. Actually, I think at one point later on they mention it's the cell phone towers. I don't know
Yes.
why they
Yep.
had somebody manned at the cell phone
I
towers.
don't know how it works out there,
I don't either.
and maybe it's something he was sent there because they refer to him as the IT guy. I mean, I don't think they say IT guy, but whenever I guess it's when the computer starts being on the fritz. He said, which this isn't till later, but Eben says, "Oh, I'll call what's his name,
Gus.
Gus."
Hmm. So Gus is working in the. To me, it looked like a weather station. They mention it's a cell phone place. It's just
Yeah,
to me, basically they're like what communication hub, I would
yeah.
guess.
It's like a little outpost, a little bit outside of town. I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah. So he hears noises. He goes outside. He starts seeing movement.
Yeah, he gets surrounded by a group of people.
Yeah. And at this point, I mean, in the movie, you don't know that it's vampires. I mean,
Yeah.
we do, obviously, because of what the movie's about, but they don't know that there's vampires in the area.
And I mean, if you went into this movie blind and knew nothing about it,
Right.
you wouldn't know what they were.
Right. But he gets killed. So Gus is actually our first kill of the movie. They don't really show a whole lot. It's just kind of.
I think they cut away.
Yeah.
Or do they? Or do we see him get?
I think we see him get bit, and then that's
Yeah.
it. Because later on we see.
I think
him.
there's a bite on his neck.
Yeah.
Like,
But then when Eben goes out there,
yeah.
we see more.
Yeah.
So Gus gets killed, and then we cut to the diner.
Yes.
And Lucy, I don't think I have this, but Lucy works at the diner.
Yeah,
she's the one
she's.
that
Yeah.
I don't know if she owns it, but she runs the diner. And so our guy from the beginning, and I couldn't figure out what to call him.
They call him the stranger.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I finally found something that called him the stranger.
I called him in my notes raw hamburger every time I talked about him. So I'm going to continue to refer to him as raw hamburger.
I had the guy. That's what I had him as, is the guy.
That's what I did for the movie we're doing next.
So he actually is called the other.
I know. I learned that, but at first that's what I was calling him.
So we cut to the diner. Lucy's working. Our guy from the beginning of the movie,
The guy that looks frostbitten that stumbled into town.
Right, that was watching the ship. He asked for alcohol. And Lucy says alcohol is illegal for the next 30 days. We can't do that.
Yeah. Because you already have people that are scared in the dark. They don't want to give them alcohol and make them even worse.
Which that was another thing I read that said it is a dry county all the time. So you can drink, but you can't buy alcohol there. Ever. So you can get it from other places and bring it. You probably don't remember this. I don't even know if they did it when you were growing up. But when I was a kid in Illinois, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sundays. You had to go to Indiana to buy your alcohol on Sundays. Or down south a little ways, there was one county you could go down there and get alcohol. But it was a county-based thing. You could drink in our county, but you couldn't bring it into, you couldn't buy it in our county at that time.
You could bring it into our county, but you couldn't buy it here.
Right. On Sundays.
Yeah.
Because that makes a difference. So you could buy it on Saturday and then drink on Sunday. But so anyway, she tells him that alcohol is illegal, and
So then he asks for raw hamburger.
So then he asks for raw hamburger. And she says we only serve it 2 ways, frozen or burnt.
Yeah.
Which ticks this guy off. And he's sitting at the counter, but he's like frostbitten, his lips are raw. I mean, he's just, and you can just tell there's something wrong with him.
And his teeth are like silver or something.
Yeah. His teeth are messed up. There's something wrong with his teeth.
So I initially thought he was a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is what you're supposed to think.
I think so too. But I actually read something that said he was sent ahead.
Yes.
By the vampires.
They say that in the movie.
So, did you get the impression that the vampires were on the ship that he was watching, and then they sent him ahead?
I didn't think anything about the ship. I didn't know. They say he was sent ahead.
Right. But I wonder if they were on the ship and he...
That would make sense.
Because he destroyed the satellite phones and he did all of,
he
killed the dogs to get it ready for them. Because he talks later on about how they're going to reward him for what he did. But anyway, so he asks for the raw hamburger. Lucy tells him she can't do that. So he threatens her, and then Evan comes in and stops him.
And he says, "Let's take this outside."
Right. And the guy is like, raw hamburger guy is like, "I'd like to see you try," or something.
Yeah.
And then Stella points a gun at the back of his head.
Yeah, Stella comes in.
So Evan arrests him.
I don't think it shows it, but was she already in there, or does she come in? Or do we not know?
I think she came in. The way it read, the way I watched it, I think she came in.
That's what I thought too, but I mean, I don't think it shows it, but
yeah.
I didn't know if maybe you can like see her in the background when he comes in or something.
I didn't, and I think you would have because she had on that bright red coat.
Yeah.
So Evan arrests him. Stella decides she's going to ride to the station with him.
So that she can say hi to Jake and Helen.
Right.
Is what she says.
And I don't know if I wrote this down, but I don't know if she asks him. But at one point he says it's been a hell of a day, and the guy in the back seat says, "Just you wait."
Yeah. So then we go back to.
Now we jump to the pipeline.
Is it the pipeline?
Yes.
Okay. So there's 3 people here. There's a woman and 2 men, and the 2 guys are like giving the girl heck and talking about who's going to take her home.
Right.
And talking about
where they're going to go. Like,
yeah.
They end up talking about going back to one of the guys' apartments for a drink.
Well, they say to share her.
Right. I mean, they're just being stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pipeline workers.
Yeah. They're kind of just. I mean, they're not being like super vulgar, but they're just kind of being vulgar to be vulgar.
Yeah.
So when Gabe and Aaron go to do rock paper scissors to see whose house they're going to, Gabe suddenly gets grabbed from behind, and you kind of see that it's like a black human outline that grabs him, but you don't really see.
It's kind of like a dark doorway, so you can't see really.
Yeah, it's like a big like garage door or like a metal thing.
Yeah.
That the shadow comes out of and grabs him, and so they start freaking out. And then Aaron like almost starts to walk into the garage thing he got dragged into, and when he does, Gabe's body falls behind him from like the roof.
With his throat ripped out.
Yes. I said body. I think he's still alive because I think he's like gurgling.
Yeah. But... So the girl screams, and then we cut back to the jail.
Yeah.
And Evan is trying to get the guy to talk. He's got him in a cell. He's trying to get him to talk, and he just won't talk. But then he goes to do something, and he randomly finds pot in Grandma's desk.
Yeah.
And Jake tells him that it's... I got the impression it was cancer. I don't know if they said that.
They do say that. He says it's for Grandma's cancer.
Okay. So, I'm mentioning that because it seemed like such a random thing, but it comes into play later on. So then...
And then Evan says to Jake, well, that's why you went to live with her, isn't it?
Right, yeah. Which I guess Evan must have never visited because it wasn't like her lights were hidden and her planes were hidden in the house. So then Helen says that's funny. Her computer's down.
Yeah.
Evan goes to try the phone. The phones are down.
And whenever he hears that the computer is down, when Evan hears the computer is down, he says, well, let me call Gus. And when he goes to get the phone, it's dead.
Right. And then the stranger says they're coming. And this guy's just creepy. I mean, he's all around creepy. His voice is creepy. He just looks creepy.
Yeah.
And he says they're coming. Bar the windows and try to hide.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's a pretty scary line. And then the electricity goes out. And the generator kicks on. So this is when Evan goes to the cell phone tower.
Yeah.
To check on Gus.
He finds Gus's head on a pike, on like a pole.
Yeah. And there's blood all over the.
Yeah. So he hops back in his truck and starts to drive through town. And he tells everyone he goes by. He says, "If you have a Jenny, go home. If you don't have a Jenny, you go to the diner."
Right. And he tells people, lock their doors, load your guns.
Yeah.
And then he stops and he's talking to a couple people. And they're asking him, like, what's going on? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and
just
he doesn't even tell them that Gus is dead. He just tells them something's going on. They need to get home.
Right. I mean, he's a pretty good sheriff for a small town sheriff. I mean, you can tell he really cares about the people, and he wants to keep people safe. And
the impression I kind of get is that maybe not all year round. Maybe it's just because it's dark. But him and Billy are the entirety of the police force.
That's kind of what I got too. And I mean,
And like
a
we said, Helen's like the dispatcher.
right. It's a town of 500. It's
Yeah.
not. I mean, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously things can happen in small towns, but I mean, the two police
Yeah.
officers couldn't handle. I mean, so then we cut back to John and Allie's house, and they are the ones that have
Yes.
dogs. She's in the kitchen. He is in the. I think he's in the
living room. Yeah, he's like watching TV or something.
And she says, "Please just come eat dinner." And then a vampire jumps through the window.
And she starts screaming.
Uh-huh.
So John goes in there with his shotgun.
Right.
But he doesn't manage to get her. She gets pulled out the window.
Right. And John gets hurt, and Allie's just gone.
Yeah, he chases after her. She gets pulled under a house because every house has like a crawl space underneath it. Like they're slightly off the ground, and there's like an open crawl space beneath it.
A lot of the houses there were like that, and I
know.
wondered if it was because of the snow buildup.
Yeah, because it wasn't even. I think it was all of the houses had them. Because even later in the movie, when Evan says something, he says, "Get in one of the crawl spaces," and so I think just every house has one.
I never thought about that. I think you're right. He did say that. I mean, I knew he said that,
Yeah.
but I was thinking like, here a crawl space
Yeah.
is, you got a 2-foot wide opening to
Yeah.
get into the crawl space, not the whole house. So.
But this, it's like the whole, it's the whole foundation lifts it up off the ground,
Right.
and there's a good amount of room underneath there.
Wonder why they do that.
I mean, if the snow melts or something, it could help with flooding. I don't know.
And it could help with like pipes freezing if they're not buried under all that snow. So.
That's true.
So then we cut back to the jail.
Wait, so I wanted to say this. I think this is when we really kind of see a vampire the first time because we see him dragging Allie, right?
Yes.
And then John's leg gets snapped.
Which vampire is it?
I don't know.
It's not the head guy. It's the other one, right? The one with the really creepy face.
It's not the head guy.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
So there's I don't even know how many vampires. There's a bunch, but there's a head vampire, and then he's kind of got a head female vampire too.
And the head vampire is a name. They never say it in the movie, but everything refers to his, like, he has a name.
It starts with a V, like Vince.
I thought it was an M.
Oh, maybe that's in the comics then. And actually, if you watch the credits, every vampire in the movie has a name.
I didn't watch the credits.
I didn't either. But every vampire has a name. So then we come back to the stranger, and he says, "The cold, it ain't the weather, death is approaching." And so Jake and Stella...
Marlowe is the head vampire.
Where did I get V from? Maybe that's in the comic book. I don't know.
I don't know. V for vampire.
There you go. But Jake, Stella, and Helen are playing a board game, and the stranger just will not shut up. And so Jake throws the game piece at him.
Yeah.
And
Raw Hamburger says, "Oh, now I can pick the lock with this."
So Jake goes to get back from him, and the stranger attacks him.
Yeah.
And that's when Eben comes in, and he shoots the stranger.
Like in the stomach.
Yeah. And he handcuffs him into this, like, with his hands above his head in the cell.
Like sitting on the floor.
Yeah. And so he starts questioning who he's with, and the stranger just keeps saying that they're, like, you guys are all dead, it doesn't matter, you're all dead.
And Helen says something about, like, oh, I'll take care of him while you go get the doctor. And Evan says, I'm not going to get the doctor until all this is over.
Right. So then Eben says that him and Billy are going to work town from one end to the other to make sure that everybody's safe, and that to see if they can find these people who are doing all this. They still don't know that it's vampires. Excuse me. They still don't know that it's vampires.
And then Stella says, "Let me go with you. The more hands, the better." Because she's a fire marshal? Or she works for the fire marshal?
She works for the fire marshal of, like, the whole state, is what it sounded like, because she was doing inspections.
And it kind of... Do you think she was police when she lived in the town? Or do you think she was some kind of firefighting?
I feel like she said that at one point. That she... Because I feel like she said something, and he said, "You're not a deputy anymore."
Okay.
And she said, "Yes, but me and Billy are all you got."
You're probably... I don't know. You're probably right.
But I think that she was.
So anyway, she goes with him, and are they just going to pick up Billy? Is that what you were under the impression
No,
of?
they were going to one end of town, and they were going to have Billy start at the other end of town.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So Stella's driving. Eben's in the passenger seat. He tells her to stop the truck because he thought he saw something.
She gets out binoculars.
So he gets
something.
out, and then
Yeah.
she follows, and she's got binoculars. And she's like,
She sees something and tells him to get in the car.
she's like,
they gotta
get
go.
in the truck now.
Do we see what she sees? I don't think we do. Do they say what she saw?
No.
Do you think it was just the vampires?
Because then there's one on the roof of their car.
I know.
So I think it was. My guess would be there was one off in the distance in the road, kind of trying to distract them, or if they got that far, they would have gotten,
Like,
attacked.
or maybe there's like a vampire eating someone over there or something.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, we never see what happens to Gus's body.
Yeah.
So maybe. So when they get back in the car, there's a vampire on the roof, and
Yeah, that's something I want to bring up, and we might bring it up later. But every time someone dies, their body is gone. So it's like the vampires are taking them somewhere.
yes.
Which,
And I don't know if I guess we haven't really seen like the vampires yet. Like as viewers, we haven't really seen. There's not really been any
one dragging
conversations, right?
Yeah.
But there's not been like because there's some conversations that you learn a little bit more about the
Yeah.
vampires. The whole point of that is at one point the head vampire tells them, "Don't turn anybody, leave
take
no
their
survivors."
heads off.
Right, take their heads off,
Yeah.
leave no survivors.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've got. Did you finish your thought?
I think so.
So the vamps on the roof
Of the truck.
of the truck.
Because they start the truck back up and start going, and one grabs on the back and pulls himself onto
Right.
the roof.
And I mean, these vampires are just strong. I mean,
Yeah.
they're crazy looking. They're strong. They're powerful. They just I don't know. They're scary. So Eben shoots him, and it doesn't really affect him at all. He just gets mad. So then Stella slams on the brakes, of course, and the vampire
Yeah.
falls off.
And then they don't run over his body, they just drive around it.
Right.
Because I paid attention.
Yeah.
I would have ran it over.
But they didn't know what they were dealing
I don't care.
with.
If something is crawling on my car roof, I'm running its head over.
So then we're back to town, and all of the vehicles in town are flipped over and burning.
Yeah.
Destroyed. Like they've destroyed the whole town. Not the buildings, but as far as like vehicles and stuff.
And they get back to the police station.
Well, we hear Helen crying over the CB.
Yes, screaming and crying.
Right, and so they go straight back to the station. They go in. There's blood everywhere.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's blood everywhere, and Helen's not there.
And Jake's not there.
Yeah. And the raw hamburger is still in the cell.
Yes.
The guy.
But he is very upset because
He says they left me.
they didn't take him.
Yeah.
Right.
So then, Eben goes over to him and asks him, "Did they take my brother? Did they take my brother?" And I don't think he ever answers
He
him.
won't.
Yeah.
He really doesn't answer any of their
Yeah.
questions ever.
He just kind of keeps saying, "They didn't take me," or "They left me," or
What is it they call in scary movies? Is it the
Harbinger?
Harbinger?
Harbinger. Yeah.
That's kind of who this guy is.
Yeah.
He's in the movie a lot longer than they usually are, but he's like the doomsayer
Yeah.
in the whole movie.
He's like the guy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the hitchhiker.
I always think of the guy in Cabin in the Woods.
Well, yeah, because that's where they
Right.
say the
Right.
Harbinger.
That's what I always
Yeah.
think of that guy, but that's
But-
kind of who this character is.
Like the classic original one I can think of is the hitchhiker in Texas Chainsaw Massacre that cuts himself.
Yeah. So did is this the stranger asks him to kill him, right? And he doesn't do it, or is that later on?
I think you're right.
So I think at this point he asks Eben to kill him, and Eben
Yeah.
won't do it. So this is the first time we actually see the vampires kind of in a group.
And they're speaking a different language.
And this, I'm glad you brought that up because I thought this was really cool. This language that they speak was created exclusively for this movie. And they worked with a linguistics professor from the University of New Zealand
To make an actual
to make
language.
this language that actually sounded like a language.
Yeah. Were you
Which
under the impression it's something that they just know automatically when they become a vampire, or it's something they had to learn? Because the head vampire mentions
don't
it
it
being centuries, so I don't know if maybe it's like an ancient dead language that no one speaks anymore.
but at the end, and I don't want to give away the ending yet, but doesn't he speak with them? I don't want to give any more away.
I
But
don't.
doesn't he know it?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. I didn't think about that. You made me
Which
think
in
so much in
the
depth.
the head vampire, the head vampire also talks in English too. Like it's not just
Right.
exclusive to that language.
Right.
But when he talks to Raw Hamburger later in the movie, he talks to him in that language, and I don't. Do we know if Raw Hamburger understands?
We do because
Does
he
he
gets
respond?
excited. Like he
Okay.
thinks he's getting his reward.
But is it in direct correlation to what he's saying?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because I'm wondering if it's a learned language or it's an inherent language.
Or if it's something like, I don't know. I would bet it's probably inherent. Like, because I would bet if you get turned, it's my guess would be, and of course it's vampires and it's
Yeah.
a movie, but I would say that it's in their blood. It's maybe
Yeah.
something that's transmitted through their blood.
And have you seen any of the other 30 Days a Night movies?
I've seen the second one, but it's been years ago.
I heard there's like, I mean, I was reading earlier. I think there's like a prequel miniseries or something.
No, I didn't know that.
We should look into that.
I did not know that.
Anyway, so after we see them speaking a foreign language, this is when we cut at the diner, right?
Well, hang on. I want to go back to that because this is what we were talking about where they have the thing where he says, don't turn them, take
Yes.
their heads off. We don't want any more vampires. And the whole thing with this vampire group was we have to wipe out this entire town. There can be nobody left who can tell what happened. Of course,
Which he says later. I don't think it's here, but he says later they spent centuries making humans believe that vampires were a myth, and
Right.
they can't undo all that work.
Right, and that is later on, but he does, yeah. So then we cut to the diner.
Yes, and the lady that was with Aaron and Gabe before, the two pipeline workers that died, comes in, and they let her in, and there's some survivors in here, and at the end of the scene, it's revealed that one of them is Jake. So he got away from the police station and got here, so he is safe.
But they talk about that they've killed all the dogs. They took Aaron and Gabe, and they killed Jake's grandma. They killed Helen. And Eben is there, too, because he gives Jake a big hug, right?
That's not till later.
That's not till later. Okay.
No. Because then what happens after this is we cut to a couple that are trying to fight them off.
And this is Adam, who is the one that was at the fire station with Stella earlier, and his wife Jeannie.
And he said Billy and Peggy were talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
earlier in the movie, Eben and Billy were together, and this is who Stella was talking to. It wasn't Billy.
Right.
I'm clarifying that for viewers because I got that mixed up.
Right. Well, we both did. But Adam ends up getting stabbed with a fire poker by one of the vampires.
Yes. And then after this, we cut to just like chaos in the streets, people dying left and right. And I'm pretty sure, I know I heard at least one, I think there's 2 Wilhelm screams used here.
I don't know what that means.
It's just a sound effect that is used all the time.
So this is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie because it's like you start out going down the street and then we back up and kind of pan out and it's just pandemonium. I mean, and of course it's snow, so I mean the bright wet red blood and just do
we start on street level and then move up?
I thought so.
Because at one point we're looking down from above.
It came out of Adam and Jeannie's house and then went back.
I think so. I don't think it like pulls out though. I think it's just like a cut to outside their house, and then it kind of shows us the whole town.
But we've got vampires everywhere, people shooting their guns, people getting pulled out of their cars, out of the windows of their houses. I mean, it's just crazy. And this is one of the coolest things I learned, and I've been trying to do it all week, and I can't do it. The vampire screams are actually the actors themselves who played the vampires screaming while breathing in.
Huh.
And I've tried to do that all week, and it just does not. But it's scary. I mean, their screams are scary, but it's seriously just each actor screaming as they breathe in.
And the vampire scream thing is really cool because it it's kind of how they get each other's attention and like alert them that hey, there's stuff right here.
Right, right. And it's just, I mean, it's for it to be the actors and that not to be a
Yeah,
sound effect. I mean, and for them to have gone to the trouble to have a whole language create. I mean, a whole language. They don't talk a whole lot in that
yeah.
language, but to have a language, just for this movie.
Well,
So
they do that in a lot of stuff. They did that for Star Trek. Um, maybe something Lord of the Rings.
that wouldn't surprise me. Um, but yeah, if you get bored, try that. Try to scream while you're breathing in because it sounds freaky.
So you don't know what the Wilhelm scream is?
I don't.
That surprises me. It's the one that's like ah.
Oh yeah. That
That's
game I used to play, that movie making game I used to play, that was one of the sound effects for horror movies.
Oh yeah.
Uh huh.
You'll once you know what that is, you'll hear it all the time. It's in I meant to mention this when we watched Mayhem and I forgot to mention it. When they throw him down the middle, the center shaft when he screams, they use that scream.
Well, I think it's cool that the vampire screams are unique.
Yeah.
And if you listen, once I knew that, if you listen to them, you can tell it's not like a canned scream.
Yeah.
It's Um, so anyway, then we cut back to Evan and Stella are at the diner.
Yeah. And they have a discussion and they're trying to figure out what to do, where they can go to survive. And they need somewhere hidden that's not going to be found very easy
Right.
by the vampires. And so, do we ever learn the lady's name that was with Gabe and Aaron? Because I hate just calling her the lady.
Is she the one that's with him for most of the rest of the movie?
I think so.
Denise.
Okay. I don't think I caught that name ever.
I did not until I actually think I had to look her up on IMDb to see what her name was because I hated to call her the lady that was with them, but I think her name's Denise.
Okay. So Denise says they can go to Charlie Kelso's attic.
Right.
And he has his attic door is like kind of blends into the ceiling.
Right.
And his house is boarded up.
Right. He left town.
Yes.
So he boarded up his house before he left town. But
is it like he left for the nighttime and boarded up his house, or he like?
That's the impression I got. Was he left for?
That seems like a lot of work, like to board up your house.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're protecting from snowstorms and stuff, they would.
Yeah, but
I mean, even
I
people in Florida do that with their houses when bad weather's coming and they leave.
I've never owned a house, so I don't know.
But I want to stop right there for a minute. So we've got Evan and Stella.
Yes.
We've got Jake.
Yes.
This is where we meet Isaac and his son Wilson.
Yes.
I think we met Wilson before, maybe.
Is Doug in here? Doug has to be.
Yes. So,
and
Isaac is an older man. Wilson is his son.
Yeah. And Isaac seems to have dementia.
Yes.
Or Alzheimer's.
I think it's
some kind of memory
I don't
problem.
know if it's right at this point, but he starts asking about his wife.
Yeah. This is the first time he does it.
Right. So you've got, and then Carter's there, and Wilson's there.
Yeah.
That's who Wilson is. Wilson's the guy that's the pilot.
Yeah.
That just clicked. Denise is there. Lucy's there.
Is that it?
And did I say Jake?
Yeah. Well, we already knew Jake was there.
Oh, is Bo there?
No, Bo's not there yet.
Okay.
Because this is when Evan and Stella get back to the diner. They talk about the Charlie Kelso's attic. They tell everyone else, head to Charlie Kelso's attic. We are going to go get flares and bear traps. And Evan says, because something has to work on them.
Right. And Evan puts Carter in charge of getting everyone else there. He tells him to stay in the shadows, and that's when he says, get under the crawl space if you have to.
So Evan and Stella leave, and they take Evan's police car.
Mm-hmm. Which is an SUV. It's a pretty hefty truck.
I keep going between truck and car. And
yeah, it's an SUV.
So they leave, and they're driving down the street, and the vampires start surrounding them and start to flip the truck with them still in it.
They actually do flip it all the way over.
And what actually happens at first is they're driving, and it just like comes to a stop, like an abrupt stop.
Yeah.
And then you find out that vampires were behind them and grabbed it and stopped it. And this is
another example of their strength.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, because he pushes on the gas, or I don't remember Stella. Anyway, it doesn't matter who's driving.
So,
I think you said Stella though.
Completely surrounded by vampires. I think from the way that I'm thinking, Stella was driving. They They actually pull both of them out of the car out of their respective windows.
Do they pull Eben out or does he crawl out?
I have they pull them both out.
They might. I don't know.
Um, so they've got Stella, and then Bo comes along with his truck with his snowplow on the front,
and Bo's the redneck guy from before.
Right, and he runs over the ones that have Stella.
Yes.
Stella makes it to the truck. Eben does, but barely. It's a really close call for Eben. So they actually make it to Charlie's, and everybody else from the diner has made it to Charlie's. And so they're in the attic, and they hear a gunshot. They hear a woman screaming. I mean, just kind of puts you in the mind of like apocalyptic into the world.
And whenever they get in the truck, they say to Bo, I don't remember if it's Eben or Stella, but they say you got to lose this truck because it's going to draw attention to them.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't want the truck outside Charlie's house. So they're in the attic. They're kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do. And Eben says we've got two advantages. We know the town and we know the cold.
Yeah. And he basically says we're survivors. That's why we're here.
Right. Like not just anybody could live in Barrow, Alaska.
Well, so. When I say he says we're survivors, that's why we're here. He doesn't even just mean in that moment. That's why they're still alive. He means the reason they live in this town is because they're survivors.
Yeah. So then we go back to the police station here.
And so the head vampire is in there, and he's talking to Raw Hamburger, and he's talking in that like vampire language, and Raw Hamburger is getting excited because he thinks he's going to be turned into a vampire.
Right. And the head vampire, one of the things he says is something about getting your reward or getting your...
And the girl is in there with the head vampire, but I think those are the only two that are in there. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't matter because... But anyway, so those two are in the police station right now. And instead of turning him, he just twists Raw Hamburger's head around.
Yeah, he
killing
him. His neck.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't turn him. They just. And
then
I also thought it was kind of. I mean, I don't think they eat him. I don't think they drink his blood.
We don't see it. But next time we see the police station, his body's gone, and there's a blood trail.
Oh, that's true. But he was also bleeding, so we don't know what they did with his body. We don't know a lot about what they did with their body.
Because remember, he did get shot in the stomach.
Yeah, so there would be a blood trail.
Yeah.
So then we go back to the attic. We hear glass breaking. So they have, like, all the windows are papered over, but they've got a little kind of peephole.
They kind of ripped the paper, but they ripped it in a way where they can push it back up and it covers that hole.
And they figure out the vampires are searching each house in town.
And they're trying to be quiet because they're next door at I think the Carter's house is what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac starts talking, and he starts asking for Wilson's mom, his wife, who passed away. And Wilson managed to get him calmed down.
Right.
And then a fight kind of breaks out.
Did you say Wilson started talking or Isaac started talking?
I don't know. But
Isaac, the dad, started.
Isaac,
he starts talking. He's the one with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Or dementia. We don't know if it's Alzheimer's.
And so kind of like a small argument breaks out. Doug is saying they should go out there, and Eben is saying they shouldn't. And it kind of gets broken up by Bo.
Yeah. Basically, Doug's saying, it's our town, let's take them on.
Yeah.
I mean...
and Bo was saying, or not Bo, Eben is saying, we gotta wait till we have a plan, and if you go out there, we're gonna draw attention to all of us.
Right. And so basically they make a plan to go to the general store for supplies, and then they're gonna go to the utilidor to wait it out, which is...
Is this when they make that plan?
Yes.
Okay.
And the utilidor is the factory we talked about earlier where Carter works. And it does, one thing I liked about the movie was every so often it tells us what day we're on.
So now it's day 7.
And
there's a girl walking down the street with a broken arm.
Her name's Kristen.
She's begging for help.
Mm-hmm. And so, is it Stella that wants to go get her?
I think so.
Stella wants to go out from the attic and go get her, but I think it's Eben says, look at the rooftops.
Yeah,
and there's vampires on every roof in town.
And even the first time you see her stumbling across the street, you can see them in the background.
Yeah.
It's not...
And they're creepy. The way they move is even creepy.
Yeah. And, like, there's a lot of times in this movie where they move across the rooftops.
Yeah. And so basically they're using her as bait. To try to draw out...
And it's not like they just released her and then let her do that. Like they convinced her to do that because later on she comes and she says, "I did what you guys told me to do."
Right.
Basically.
Right. Um, and Eben even says they're using her as bait.
Yeah.
She gets to the end of the street and we see her face to face with the vampires.
Yeah. And does one of them slash her before
Not
we
yet.
cut away?
Not yet.
Okay. Why does Evan go outside here? Is
To
it to
save
see
her.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it to see if he can save her?
Mm-hmm.
So,
So back on the Eben and Stella relationship, Stella's kind of cold toward Eben for a lot of the movie, but you
yeah.
can tell Eben still really loves her, and she's upset about Kristen, so he goes out there to try to save her.
Yeah.
And I think it was more, not that he didn't care about the people in his town, but it was more because Stella was so upset over it.
Yeah.
He wanted to kind of calm her down.
So he goes out there and he's kind of sneaking around and he hears his name said once, and at first he doesn't think any, like he looks around a little bit and then it kind of seems like he thinks maybe he was just hearing things. But then he hears his name again and he scans again and he notices John from before, the guy with the dogs who we saw his wife die, is the guy with the broken leg.
Right.
Is under a crawl space.
Did we talk
and he's yelling for Eben.
Did we talk about at that part that he goes outside and sees them take his wife under the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I mentioned that's when we first brought up the crawl spaces. And,
oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, John's under the crawl space and he's like whisper yelling for Eben. So Eben says, "Stay there, I'll come to you," and gets over there and starts to help him out and notices something's off.
But in between, so we kind of cut back and forth between them and also Kristen. I wrote it down both ways, Kristen and Kirsten. They're slashing her, they're torturing her. She's surrounded by all these vampires. They're cutting her face with their nails.
Yeah.
They're just, so it kind of cuts back between her and the vampires, and then John and Eben.
And I think even one part, whenever he's kind of sneaking around, you can see it happening in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's when he crosses the street to come to John.
Yeah.
But I might be wrong.
I think so. I don't know if he crossed it. Did he cross the street?
Yes, because he's on one side of the street. He says, "Stay there, I'll come to you," and crosses the street to get to him.
Okay. So I didn't think it was a street. I thought it was like a backyard. But that's neither here nor there. I thought the vampires were like in an alley. And he...
No, the vampires are on like the main road.
Okay.
Because it's like the main road, and then there's like a little opening at the end, which is where she ran into them. Because they basically just had her walking down Main Street screaming for help.
Yeah. So I thought that it was a backyard, but...
I mean, it doesn't matter either way. He gets over to John.
They end up killing Kristen.
And when he helps get John out, and John is walking.
Mm-hmm.
So John turns out he's infected because he got scratched.
Yes.
Earlier in the movie,
right.
Whenever
in the
he
fight
was
in the house.
Was it in the fight or was it after he went outside? I mean, it doesn't matter. But anyway, he got scratched by the vampire whenever his wife was being killed.
Right.
So he has started to turn, and he says, "Oh, I'm so thirsty," and then he starts to go to attack Eben, but Eben holds him off.
And Eben pulls out his gun, and classic horror action movie. He loses his gun in the fight.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder too about new vampires if they're weaker at first, like maybe before their first feed or something, they're weaker. But I don't know because at the end,
I wondered if it depended on how you got infected. Because of the end. Because if you got bit,
he says
you're talking saliva in your blood.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about this more later, so we don't really spoil.
But then, like, John was just a cut.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, like, he got infected, but it wasn't, like...
Yeah.
Kind of like a disease. I mean, it's a disease, but kind of like, if your blood on blood gets contact, it's going to be a lot quicker.
Well, and it also makes you think if maybe there's different kinds of vampires, because... different vampire medias you turn different ways. Sometimes you have to be infected and then feed. Sometimes you just have to be bit. Sometimes you have to be bit and then drink a vampire's blood. Like, there's a bunch of different ways people do it.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's even different types of vampires in this world. So maybe like a scratch or like a bite is different than like blood on blood or something. And so maybe you're stronger because maybe that's how the lead vampire is so powerful, is because he was infected blood to blood or something like that. And I mean, it doesn't get into that in the movie, but...
And I got the impression from him that he's, like, the oldest vampire ever.
Well, he mentioned centuries of...
Right.
And that doesn't mean that he was alive for those centuries, but it kind of seems like he was.
Yeah. He's pretty bad dude.
Yeah.
Um, so they're fighting. Eben grabs an axe and he cuts off John's head.
Well, John follows him. He gets caught up in a swing on swing sets, and then his head gets cut off by the fire axe.
Right. So I must have been taking notes because I was like, later on, I'm like, how did he get in the swing set?
He's chasing him, and I think Eben like falls or something, or like anyway, Eben gets past the swings. John gets caught up in the swings,
Okay.
which also makes me think maybe the first time you thirst, or maybe if you're just so thirsty, you're not as smart because he literally gets caught in the swings and then doesn't try to get out. So John is caught up in the swings and he's not really trying to get out. He's just trying to work his way towards Evan, just like walk forward, like zombie like with arms out.
Yeah.
And Evan
I
grabs a
don't know how
fire
I
axe.
missed that.
Evan grabs a fire axe and takes his head off.
So then we cut back to the attic and Eben is back up there, but he lost his inhaler.
Yeah. Well, Eben collapses through the front door and they have to help him back up into the attic.
I must have been taking a nap or something in this part of the movie.
Because he gets back to the house, but he's like collapsed on the floor, and Stella comes down, and Wilson might be with her. Someone else is with her and helps. I don't know if they show us him coming back upstairs, but basically,
we see him laying upstairs
yeah.
and he's having a hard time breathing.
Yeah. And he lost his inhaler.
Mm-hmm.
And does he say when? Does he say it was in the fight with John?
I don't think he says.
Okay. So basically, he's having an asthma attack.
Right.
So they lay him down up in the attic, just like on a blanket thing they made.
And so he's asleep, and it's
yeah.
It's
and
kinda, I think it's kind of the middle of the night. I mean, it's
yeah,
like all the time,
everyone's asleep except one person,
right.
I think.
So
everyone's
Isaac,
asleep except one person, I think.
And then Isaac, who's our dementia person.
Yeah.
Wakes up and he's like, I have to get out of here. I need to get out of here. He sneaks downstairs.
Where does he say he's trying to walk to? Do you remember?
Somewhere that's like 80 miles away.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember the name
and
of the town.
it's mentioned again whenever later on they're like, oh, well, if we don't stop it, they'll go over to one of those towns next.
I feel like it starts
it's one of
with
the ones
an
they
H.
mention. I don't remember.
But anyway, so he sneaks downstairs. Well, Stella is awake and follows him.
Yeah.
And then Wilson.
Yeah.
She's trying to talk him down. Well, then Wilson comes downstairs and they start trying to talk him down.
And Isaac is like yelling. He's not just talking. He's loud.
Right. He's not full on screaming.
Yeah.
But, I mean, compared to their whispers,
yeah.
He's probably talking in a normal voice.
I'd say even a little bit louder because he's kind of being like firm and like, oh, I'm doing this.
Yeah. He's just kind of like, I have to get out of here. I can't stay here anymore.
Yeah.
So then he's like, all right. He calms down. He says, okay, I need to go to the bathroom. And Stella said, that's fine.
Just don't
flush. So Wilson goes in the bathroom.
Isaac goes in the bathroom.
I'm sorry. I do that all the time with him. Isaac goes in the bathroom. And I don't remember if they hear something.
The door gets locked. I feel like they do hear something.
And so they
hear like a thud or something, I think.
Right. And so they go to get in the bathroom to check on him. Of course, they have to pick the lock.
Yeah.
And the window's open, and
yeah.
Isaac's gone. So Wilson's kind of having a freak out. He says, I'm going after my dad. And Stella's like, you can't.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to lead them right to us.
So Stella gets knocked on her butt.
Yeah. And she hits her head.
Yeah. And so then Wilson goes out the front door.
Well, I think he goes out where they had the board removed.
I think that's the front door.
Was it?
I mean, it doesn't. He goes out whichever door they
right.
use.
Right.
He doesn't. Basically,
I guess that makes sense that it was a door. I was just thinking it was like a board, but it would have to be over the door. You're right.
Basically, I was just trying to say he doesn't crawl out the window.
Right.
He goes out through
right.
where they found the thing. I didn't think about that. Wouldn't the window have been boarded up?
Should have been.
I don't know though because
if you board it up from the outside though, it wouldn't be that hard to push it out.
That's what I was gonna say. If you're just securing your house from the weather and stuff, I imagine you're not gonna do it like it's not made to be permanent. It's made to come off.
Right. And I mean, like the board they moved to get in there is from the outside, so maybe it was just kind of over the window to keep it safe, and Isaac was able to knock it out.
So Eben has basically recovered from his asthma attack at this point, so he comes down and helps Stella up, and it's like, oh, what happened? And then they hear something come through the front door.
And there's a vampire in the house.
Yes. I think it's the same vampire that killed Allie earlier. I think it's that same guy.
he kind of seems like maybe the second in command, like
I think so.
kind of
Either that or he's like the brutalizer, like the
yeah, he could be, yeah. Um, so of course it gets really tense. You've got Evan and Stella downstairs. You got everybody else upstairs, and the vampire in the house. Well, then
yeah,
Wilson starts yelling for his
yeah.
dad.
Because Stella and Eben, it shows them. I think they found a place to hide downstairs, or did they go
They no,
upstairs?
they had a place to hide downstairs, but it wasn't. It was like around the
Yeah,
corner. It
yeah,
wasn't a very
yeah.
good hiding spot.
Because they didn't have time to get back upstairs before
Right,
the vampire came
right.
in.
I just meant everybody else was.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like in this
yeah.
house, you've got them, and then everybody else
I
upstairs.
just wasn't sure if I was misremembering whether they were downstairs or not,
Now,
or if
did
they
they
made it
leave
back
the
upstairs.
stairs down?
I think so, because I think Evan just came down to see what was going
Yeah,
on.
I think so.
So anyway, as they're going through, Wilson starts yelling outside for Isaac, um, and that distracts the vampire that's in there, and so Wilson ends up dying.
Right. And one of the things about the vampires in this movie is the way they move. I mean, they're
Yeah,
not like. It kind of puts you. I hate to.
they move like a beast,
I
like
was
an
gonna say,
animal.
kind of like they put you kind of in the mind of a dog. Like the dog
Yeah,
gets hears something and their head just kind of whips around,
yeah.
and I mean, they did such a good
It
job with the
reminds me of the beast
vampires.
from Split.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so anyway, so then we cut to 18. It's been 18 days.
Well, I've got a couple notes
Okay.
before we go there. So Stella is really blaming herself for Wilson dying. She says she should have done more to stop him, and um, so we've got Evan comforting her, and then there's banging on the roof, which scares everybody, and
This
um,
is the 18 days is when the banging happens.
well, we're either on day 17 or day 18. And they figure out there's a blizzard coming in, so they are going to leave the attic. They're going to go to the general store and get supplies, and then go to the utilidor.
Yes.
Um, Eben goes in the store first, and then everyone he's kind
They
of
make
checking it
it.
out.
They make it to the general store without any incidents.
Right, and it is snowing really hard. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a full on blizzard right now. They call it. I mean, it's a whiteout. Um, so Eben goes in. He kind of checks
Yeah. He
things
doesn't
out.
really see anything initially, but he doesn't go in the back room.
Right. And so everybody else comes in, and Eben says, "You get medicine, you get canned goods, you
Yeah.
get like." So basically, their plan is we're going to get enough supplies to last the next 14 days
Yeah.
at the utilidor until the sun comes up.
Yeah.
Um,
Because at this point they figured out they're vampires.
yes, yes. Um,
And now, they lobbed John's head off, so they know they can cut their head off to kill him
right.
too.
So have we already seen the part where the head vampire sees John's body?
I think that's around here, but I don't know exactly.
Okay,
I didn't
so
write it down.
let's finish the part about the store, and then we'll talk about
Okay.
that. So they're all in their different corners gathering supplies, and they hear a cough. Um,
Like a wet cough.
yes. And I don't know, is it Denise that goes back there and sees it first?
Maybe.
They end up finding a little girl, probably 5 or 6 years old, who's eating a
Yeah.
person, a female. Um,
And
so
so
kind of a fight ensues,
Yeah.
and Eben's got an axe, and he misses her with the axe, and
yeah. So it
um,
ends up with 4 of them holding her, and Evan starts screaming, "Someone grab the axe and finish it off." Oh, I'm also meant to mention here. I mean, it's not super important because it doesn't really come into play later, but we do see Evan get an inhaler here.
yes.
I don't know if you noticed that,
Yes,
but yeah,
I did, because he takes a big old puff of
yeah.
it. Which Dawson has asthma, so he knows sometimes those are,
Life or death.
yeah.
So about 4 of them were holding her down, and Evan screams, "Someone needs to take her head off with the axe." So Jake grabs the axe and does it, and he's like real torn up about it. And like this is hitting. I mean, it's hitting everyone hard, but Jake is real hard for because he watched Grandma Helen die. He's killing a little girl right now, and then earlier, Kirsten or Kristen, whatever her name was, he said he knew her since she was a kid. Like they'd grown up
Yeah.
together.
They were pretty, I mean, I think they were pretty close to the same age.
Yeah.
Which she's the one that they put in the
Yeah.
street.
For clarification, Jake is 15. They say that.
Oh, I didn't get that.
It's when it's right in like the next scene.
Okay. Well, this is where I have that it's day 18, and the whiteout is over. So Carter says we need to start a diversion.
Yes.
And I don't know, I didn't write down who it was, but somebody says we need to bring the sun early.
I think it. I think it is Jake.
Is it Jake?
No, I think Stella says it, and then Jake says, "Oh, Grandma Helen had UV lights for her plants."
Right. Um, so their plan is they're going to lure all of the vampires to Grandma Helen's house,
Yes. While
use the
everyone.
UV lights,
Yeah.
and then everybody else is going to get to the utilidor.
Yes. And so.
No, I'm sorry. They're going back to the police station. They're not trying to get to
Yes,
the utilidor.
they don't have enough time to get the
Right.
utilidor. It's too far.
So of course Eben is going to go to Grandma Helen's house.
Yes. And when Eben volunteers to do it, Stella's like, "Oh, you don't believe this is gonna work," and he said, "No, but you believe it."
Right.
And then this is when Jake says, "I know Grandma Helen's house better than you all go," and he says, "No, you're 15."
And he says, you know, you just cut that little girl's head off.
Yeah.
Can you do it
4 more times?
Um, so Eben takes off, running, screaming down the street.
Yeah.
Vampires, of course,
Yeah.
they're coming for him.
He's like, "Mother effers, get out here."
And Jake does tell him. He said you have to start the generator first.
Yes.
And I thought that was one part I thought they could have done a lot more with, like him really struggling to get the generator started.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a little.
He's
bit.
got like he does it like 3 times.
Yeah,
and then
but I mean,
finally gets started going.
He could have really struggled with the generator
Yeah.
to build up that tension a little bit more.
But this is a 2-hour movie, so you don't want to extend the runtime
Well,
much
that's true.
longer.
That's true. So Bo, who's our mountain man,
Yes.
is leading everybody else.
Oh, and earlier in the movie, Bo tried to leave the attic at some point, and I think Stella was the one that talked him down. And was like, "You can't go out there because he left the strongest man here to protect us."
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like feeding into his ego.
Yeah.
Because he's one of those guys that if the zombie apocalypse happened, he'd go like full Mad Max and be like, "The world is mine. I'm gonna do what I want."
Yeah. I like him though. I
Yeah,
like his
yeah,
character.
he's a good character.
I mean,
And I mean, he's not like an a-hole or anything. It's just like the way the characters are written, it's just you know who they are
Yeah.
and you understand their personalities, but none of them are unlikable, I
Yeah.
would say.
yeah. Except for she wasn't unlikable, but I just didn't understand Denise's character. I guess I didn't realize she was the girl from the pipeline
Yeah.
until you said that earlier. But I was like, where did this chick even go?
Because she says, the reason I caught it is because they never say she is the pipeline worker, but she says they killed Gabe and Aaron. And whenever the guy gets grabbed, whenever they're doing rock, paper, scissors, Aaron starts screaming, "Gabe! Gabe!" That's the only reason I connected it.
Okay.
So I guess
Makes sense.
this is a movie that if you do sit down and watch it, you gotta pay attention to know who everyone is.
Yeah. And I've seen this movie several times.
I've only seen it once. This is the first time I've seen it.
I failed as a mother. I've seen it a lot, and I will tell you, this is a movie that I don't like to watch at dark, and I don't like to walk down the dark hallway after I've watched it because they're so scary. And I don't, there's not a whole lot that freaks me out in movies. I don't do exorcisms, but these vampires are scary. So who was it? I didn't see who it was. Who was at the back of the group that got attacked by vampires while Bo's leading everybody else?
It's Doug, the guy who got in a fight with him earlier, like in the attic. That was like, "Oh, we need to go out there and fight them."
I couldn't.
Yeah.
It happened so fast.
Yeah.
And
I don't think. I don't know when I think they just say his name after he dies. They may say it earlier, but if they do, I missed it.
Okay.
But because I didn't know what his name was, so I just kept referring to him as like that guy or whatever. And the contrarian. That's what I was calling him because he gets in the fight with him. I was calling him contrarian. And so I wrote here, they lose contrarian, and then I wrote Doug above it in my notes because I think they say his name after he dies.
I got a lot of the names from subtitles just because I mean a lot of times you didn't know who people were, and it not in a bad way, but
I mean you know who their character are, you just don't necessarily know their name.
Right. So everybody else makes it to the station while the vampires are outside of Helen's house.
Yes.
There's kind of like a little back and forth between the vampires on who's going to go in the house first.
Yeah.
And the female head
It.
vampire wants to. Like, she wants to get
Yeah.
Eben.
Are
She
there
is
subtitles
after
at
him.
this part that tell us what's happening, or do they we just know from their body
I
language?
think it's more from their body language.
Yeah, because I think because what happens is they're all waiting there, and then the woman runs ahead in front of all of them, and then gets to the door, and then turns around and looks at the leader for like permission to go in.
Right. Um, and so,
And like we said, they got the generator running,
right.
and we see him grab the UV light and pull it down from the thing
Mhm.
it's hanging on.
And so when she opens the door, half of her face gets burned by the UV light.
Yes.
And I mean, it just, she's a vampire. You shouldn't feel sorry for a vampire, but it just looks so painful. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, half of her face is like ash.
If you've seen Blade, it's similar to that.
Oh, yeah. Which, of course, ticks the head vampire off because, again, I think she was his partner.
Yeah.
They don't ever come right out and say that,
But
it's
you can
just
tell kind of by the way they act.
right.
Because I got that impression too.
So she gets burned by the light, and then the vampires kill the generator.
Yeah, and he knew that was going to happen. He didn't think he was going to get very far with it. I feel like he should have taken it with him and tried to use it for something else.
It may have been kind of awkward to run with, though, something that big.
He wasn't really carrying anything else. He got on a coat. He could swing it over his back.
Yeah. He wasn't thinking that, Dawson. He doesn't have your survival instinct.
That's just because I'm Bo. I would be the guy that thinks I know everything, and I die really.
Bo doesn't die yet. Um, so Eben goes out the back door, and of course the vampires are still hunting him.
Yep.
Um,
So then they have walkie-talkies. That's how they're able to talk to each
they
other.
found those in, was it Charlie's house? Because it's just a little pair of
I don't think
cheap yellow.
I don't think they found them there. I think they're the police station radios.
Are they?
Because they say earlier in the movie we can stay in contact through the radios.
But at some point, Bo finds those little yellow ones.
I must have missed that part.
And he hands one. He says these still work.
I know he says that, but I don't think he finds it there. I think he just has them on it.
Oh well. Anyway,
they have walkie-talkies.
There's two of them. It's little yellow walkie-talkies. So Eben calls on the walkie-talkie to check on everybody, and Bo tells him to run for the trencher.
Yes.
We know. Okay, so I'm gonna stop and we're gonna back up because I mentioned this and then we didn't really talk about it. There's a scene in there and I didn't write down because I didn't understand the swing set part, where the head vampire and his female are looking at John's body.
Yes.
And I think that was a good. I like that scene because it shows that he was ticked that somebody converted him, that somebody changed him.
Because
into a vampire.
the first thing he does when he sees he's missing his head is he checks John's severed head and sees it has teeth, and I think he screams in rage.
Yeah, and I think that's like he did not want anybody in that town to live. He did not want anybody changed. He's
gatekeeping being a vampire.
Right. So that was earlier in the movie, but I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was a really cool scene. I didn't understand the swing set until you explained it. So, so Eben calls on the walkie-talkie, and Bo tells him to run for the trencher.
Yes, because Eben was talking to Stella originally, and then Bo says, "Give me the walkie-talkie, Stella," and then he says, "Run for the trencher."
Right, and Stella's like, "You don't have to do this," and Bo says, "It's my turn," which is, kind of, I don't know, that hero complex, I guess, really, for lack of better phrasing, but just that he was willing to, because him and Eben hadn't gotten along, and he was willing to put himself out there to try to save Eben.
You could tell he wanted to be in charge, but he was kind of biting his tongue.
Yeah.
I do think he had respect for Eben.
I do too.
I don't think he necessarily liked Eben, but I think he had a respect for him.
Yeah. So the trencher, which is the thing we were talking about earlier, is what Malachi hits.
It basically has a giant chainsaw on the front.
Yes, it does, and that was one of the coolest kills in the movie. Vampire kill of the week. We've got zombie kill of the week in Zombieland. He's in the road with this trencher, and he's got all these vampires all over the trencher.
He has a shotgun.
Shoots one through the windshield, and it falls on the trencher, which of course he's got going, and it cuts the vampire in half.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like the coolest kill in the whole movie.
But he has a shotgun, and he shoots one in the head, and the head just explodes. I thought that was cool too.
And he also has on the back of it, he has bear traps. So when they try to climb on the back of it, he's got one of them gets caught in a bear trap, and he's dragging him down the main road.
And he ends up shooting the chain later and letting him go.
Yeah. So then we jump back to the head vampire and the female. Um, and yes, they're vampires, but it's kind of sad. I mean, it's, the love of his life or
Yeah.
what. I don't know. Do vampires love each other? I don't know. Twilight, I guess they do, but um, I don't know in this movie. But it's kind of sad because
Yeah.
and
And he asks something along the lines of, "Do you know what we do with things that are broken?
yeah,
They stay broken."
yeah, they can't. Something about they can't be fixed or they stay
Yeah. Yeah.
broken. And basically, there's nothing they can do to fix her, and she's in
Yeah.
so much pain that he kills her.
Yeah.
Um,
And you see him take like pride in earlier kills, and this is like the one kill where you don't see that.
right.
Like he's mourning
And
her.
doesn't he cover her face so she can't see him do it?
Yeah, I think he like yeah. I
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And like we said, she gets like half murdered, so it's like a two-faced situation.
yeah, and I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, you think about the person you love laying there in pain, and there's the
Yeah.
only thing you can do for them is to end
And like
it.
we said, we don't really find out how long they've been alive for. So for all we know, they've been alive for centuries.
Yeah.
And at that point, you think you're immortal. You don't think they're ever going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so Bo is going along killing vampires left and right.
And I like him. I like
Yeah,
this scene's pretty cool. So he runs himself into a building
yeah, on purpose.
on purpose, and he's got his gun out, and his gun
it's-
quits working.
I think the building, I mean, it's glass too, but it's got like a wooden front.
Yeah. I
So
kind of got the impression it was like a bank. I don't know for sure. They never said that, but that's what in my mind that the way the building was set up.
yeah,
It
I don't
reminded
know.
me of a bank.
I didn't pay
mean,
enough attention. I think there was a sign on it, so we could probably see.
Probably,
but, yeah,
but
I didn't pay enough attention.
it reminded me of a bank.
Yeah, but anyway, so he takes the big
Trencher.
trencher through it, and he kind of like swings the thing into it to kind of get it to break before the chainsaw thing on the front through it before he drives in.
And so, this is one of my favorite lines of the whole movie. He has dynamite and he lights the dynamite.
Is it dynamite or flares?
I don't know. Would flares blow up like that? I
I
thought
don't
it was
know.
dynamite.
I don't know enough about flares. But the other thing is, with what happens. Okay, let's just talk about what happened, and then I can.
Okay, so he lights one stick of dynamite or a flare, whichever
Yeah.
it is, and he drops it in a
I
box.
know the one he has in his hand has to be a flare, because it starts at the top. I don't know about the rest though.
Oh, well, anyway. But one of my favorite lines in the whole movie is he looks at him and he says, "You ain't gonna eat me."
Yeah.
And then he drops that in the box with all the other ones.
And it caused an explosion. My thing is though, I don't think it's a big enough explosion to be dynamite, and I don't think you would survive an explosion where dynamite's at your feet.
True. That's true.
Because it burns a bunch of the vampires, and then he like is still alive, but is badly hurt by it.
Yeah, and he ends up out in the street,
Yeah.
right?
And he does, and I think he's partially burnt. I think we
Yes.
see, yeah.
Yes.
In he is right. He doesn't get eaten, or at least not while he's still alive,
Right.
because the head vampire puts his foot on his head and crunches down on it.
Which again goes back to their strength. You couldn't put
Yeah.
your boot on somebody's head and crush it like that. I mean, maybe you could, but I doubt it. So Eben finally gets back to the police station, and I thought this was important enough. I wrote it down. There's only 6 people left. We've only got 6
Yeah,
survivors out of the 150. Was it 156, 152?
I think it was 2.
That were left in the town. We've got 6 people left in this town.
And this is where. Do you have anything you want to say before the Carter thing?
No, that's next.
So this is when Carter reveals that which you kind of saw it earlier, but he got scratched by the girl the little girl in the grocery store, and so he's starting to turn.
But he says he got bit.
He says scratched.
Oh, I thought I wrote down bit.
Maybe he does say bit. He might have gotten bit by her. We see it happen. It does happen on screen. I'm pretty sure it's just scratched though,
Okay.
but I might be wrong.
So one thing when we first meet Carter, Eben is kind of giving him heck because his wife and kids aren't there with him, and says, can't your wife send you up a sweater, and when
Yeah.
are they going to come visit? And so at this point, Carter finally tells everybody in town that
They're dead.
everybody that in town, there's 6 people, but his wife and daughters were killed by a drunk driver.
Yeah.
Um,
And he tried to kill himself, but couldn't bring himself to do it.
right.
And he can't go on living forever with their memory, so
Right.
he wants Eben to put him out of his misery,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So,
And he also says, "I'm so thirsty."
yeah. And you can tell by his face he's starting to change.
Yeah, he's gotten
Um,
paler and stuff. So Eben takes him back in like his office and closes the door and kills him with the axe,
yep.
and then comes back out there.
Yep. And so then we're on day 27.
Yes.
And we've got Jake, Lucy, Stella, Eben, and Denise.
And they see a flashing light from the building across the street, which is Billy's house.
Yep. And so Stella and Eben go over there to see who it is and what's going on. And they find Billy upstairs in a bedroom.
Yes.
And Stella goes over to talk to Billy.
Yeah, and on the bed, there's a blanket covering what you can tell is a corpse.
And so when Eben pulls the blanket back, it's Peggy and the two girls.
We don't see them, though.
No, they do. Thank God they don't show that.
Yeah, they just talk about it. And it turns out that when all the screaming happened and the chaos erupted, Billy shot Peggy and the girls to spare them from it.
But he said the gun jammed when he tried to shoot himself.
Yeah.
And
he says he shouldn't have signaled, but he was just so lonely.
Yeah.
And Eben says that was your family. You're supposed to protect your family, not hurt them, and is like super distressed about it.
Right. So
yeah, we went from mayhem last week to this. It's kind of heavy.
So they get Billy back to the station, but everyone else is gone, which I didn't quite understand why they left. Like, they knew they were just going across the street. I wasn't sure why they left. But everybody else is gone. So Stella and Denise and Jake are hiding under a house in one of the crawl spaces. And they see... Not Stella. I'm sorry. That's wrong. It's Stella, Eben, and Billy that are hiding. And they see a little girl covered in blood in the road.
Gail.
And one thing we didn't mention, which I thought was kind of odd.
They say they didn't recognize the little girl in the store.
Yes.
I wonder if she came with the vampires.
But you never see her at any other point.
I know, but I wonder if she came with the vampires.
I mean, she had to because it's a town of 500 people.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to point that out. It wasn't somebody local from their town. She was somebody. So Stella pulls Gail to safety. And Billy and Eben decide they're going to distract the vampires so Stella and Gail can get to the utilidor. But they end up getting split up.
Yeah.
Billy and Eben end up getting split up.
Well, Eben tries to run it by himself. He's trying to just run distraction. Billy follows him, and he kind of like puts himself between Billy and the vampire.
Eben and the vampire, right? Billy puts himself between...
No.
Oh, okay.
Eben comes out first, and then Billy comes out second. Eben gets in front of Billy.
Okay.
And then they both end up running off and get separated.
Okay. So, Eben finally makes it to the utilidor, and finds the rest of the group, but Stella and Gail are not there.
Because we see that the vampire followed Billy and not Eben.
Right. So this is where the head vampire tells them again, destroy everyone. We can have no survivors. We can't have anybody going out and telling. Yes. This is where Dawson was talking about the...
Centuries.
He says we've been in their nightmares for centuries. We can't let them know we're real.
And when Eben gets back to the utilidor, Jake and the others are there. Like Denise and...
Yes.
Who else is left?
Lucy.
Is that it?
Yeah, because there were Jake, Lucy, Stella, Eben, and Denise, and then we added Billy.
Okay. So, but Stella's not there. Gail and Stella are not there.
Right.
I don't know if we said that earlier. And then, so Billy makes his way to the utilidor, being followed.
Right.
But he doesn't know he's being followed.
Right. So Eben has a walkie and Stella has one. He's trying to get a hold of her. She doesn't answer. Billy can't find anybody else in there, so he starts yelling for help, and that's when he gets attacked by a vampire.
Yeah.
And the others try to help him. They try to help Billy. And Billy actually ends up knocking the vampire into the crusher.
In his hand, I called it an industrial grinder.
Right. And Billy loses his hand.
Yeah, and this is one of the goriest things in this movie.
Yeah.
is when he loses his hand, because you see the bone and it's splurting blood, and even Eben, Eben comes over and is like talking to him and is like, oh, let's get that arm taken care of, and you can just see the blood splashing on his face,
Yeah.
like it's arteries.
And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. He got bit.
Yeah.
He got full on bit.
Yes.
And he starts screeching like one of the vampires.
Yeah.
So his transformation was quick.
Yeah.
After he got bit.
And so Eben takes his head off with an axe.
Right.
And that's why I say this is one of those gruesome scenes, because not only the hand thing, but also that, because it kind of shows it in full.
Yeah.
I think this is...
Which, of course, I mean, it's... poor Eben has taken out people that he swore to protect that town, and here he is, killing his
partner.
deputy, and, so then we go to One Day Till Sunrise. Stella finally answers Eben and tells him they're hiding under a wrecked car, but they are free.
Well, first they're talking, because Denise finds vodka, chocolates, and vitamins, or something, and so they're celebrating that they have one more day till sunrise. So I wanted to mention that. And then, Stella gets on the walkie-talkie.
And her and Gail, I would say Gail's probably, 7, 8?
Yeah, she's pretty young.
And she says they're freezing, and they actually show them under the vehicle that they're hiding in, and I think it's Jake that's looking out the window, and he says, I can see them under that car.
Yeah. He says, I can see the wreck. He can't see them under the car,
well,
he just sees the car.
Right, okay.
Because there's kind of a snowdrift up against the car, so it's kind of pretty good cover for them.
Yeah. So then the street starts to fill with oil.
Yes.
And they figure out that the vamps broke the oil pipeline.
Yeah. And I honestly thought when this first started happening, because in the beginning of the movie, why Bo gets a ticket is because his truck was leaking fuel for the generators that he had in the back of his car.
Right.
I thought he had parked his truck there, and that was all of it having leaked out, and I thought they were going to use it to take out the vampires.
That would have been cool.
But it's not.
So they figure out the vampires broke the pipeline, and they actually set the oil on fire.
Yeah. Intending to make it look like the town was destroyed in an accident. Everyone died accidentally.
Right. And the whole town is burning. I mean, we see the diner burn up, and we see the police station, and everything's burning. And one thing I mentioned to Dawson was, I think, and Dawson didn't agree with me, but I think that the head vampire knew Stella was under the car, and because Eben burnt his love, he was going to pay Eben back the same way.
I mean, I think that fits thematically and everything, but I don't think they knew we were down there, because I think they would have at least killed Gale.
I still think it was a way to... I see it as a way to get Eben out in the open.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get there, but... okay, so...
So I think at this point... obviously the vampires don't know that they're in the Utilidor, and the Utilidor is like metal, so it's not going to burn very easy. Yeah. So I really think burning the town was kind of a last-ditch effort. Like, we're going to burn the whole town and get rid of everybody, regardless. Because if they're hiding in an attic, they're going to die.
And the vamps kind of gather... What you say makes sense, actually, because the vamps gather, like, right where the Utilidor can see them, next to the car. So what you say is probably right.
And it doesn't flat out say that. It's just kind of always... I mean, I've thought that since the first time I've ever watched it, was that it was a kind of in-your-face to Eben. You burnt my woman, I'm going to burn yours. Yeah. So then we're back inside the Utilidor, and Eben... So when they were in the general store, of course, there's a pharmacy in there. One of the things they got was syringes. And he fills one with Billy's blood.
Yeah, and he says if you get bit and scratched in turn, what's going to happen if I just inject it directly into my blood? Like, how strong, how fast will it be?
Right. And I honestly thought that he was somehow going to use Billy's blood as a weapon against the vampires. I don't know why I thought, like, I don't know. I mean, inject his blood. Yeah. I don't know why. Like, dead vampire blood would hurt them. I don't know.
Well, it's, Supernatural. That's how they kill them. Spoilers for Supernatural, if you inject dead man's blood into a vampire, I think they just explode. Like, I think they just fully explode.
I think you're right. It depends how much you do, though, because sometimes that's how they keep them alive. That's sometimes how they catch them. Because when they're looking for the headband, that's supernatural. We're gonna go back to our vampires.
We'll probably do an episode or two on supernatural episodes at some point.
Heck yes. Um, so Eben actually injects himself with Billy's blood.
Yes.
Which is just heartbreaking. I mean,
and you kind of see it moving through his veins.
Yeah.
Like I think it's darker than his normal blood. Mm-hmm.
And he actually,
and he seems like he's in pain too.
Yeah,
like
that's what I was gonna say. Like he gets outside the utilidor and he's kind of trying to walk and he just looks like he's in pain. And I don't remember if it's before or right after he injects himself, but he tells Jake, he says, "When I get outside, you tell Stella to run."
Yeah.
So
he gives Jake the walkie-talkie.
He did this for Stella. I mean, this is all for her. This is all for her. He loves her. He's whatever it takes to save her.
Yeah.
So he goes out and confronts the head vampire, who kind of just kicks his ass.
And this makes sense too if you're saying the thing about he's getting revenge, because it makes sense why the other vampires might not get involved, because now it's personal.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Because the other vampires don't get involved. It's just head vampire versus Eben.
Right.
And Eben walks out, he puts his hood up and stuff so they can't see he's infected.
Right.
But I was wondering about that because he says he can smell the blood pumping through their veins. Mm-hmm. Not the vampires, just the humans. So I don't know if that would be affected by him being a vampire. Like if his blood sounds the same, if they circulate blood.
I would guess they don't circulate blood.
That
by
was
their
my thought
skin
too.
color and stuff. I would say they don't.
So maybe they.
But maybe he didn't care. Maybe he didn't care that Eben, and maybe it was something to do with him being in that in between stage, like he wasn't all the way. Because the head vampire kicks his ass. I mean, like Eben takes a heck of a beating at this part.
And Stella and Gale, instead of running, they just kind of stand there and watch, which is kind of stupid to me.
I thought so too.
Which I get that Stella likes Eben, but he came out there to save you, to run a distraction. You have no evidence that the vampires are not going to attack you when you're standing out in the open in front of the car that you were just hiding under.
Right.
Just make a break for the... whatever. The... Utilidor.
Right. So then Eben stands up and like...
I think that... I legitimately think that's the only stupid decision from a character in this movie, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But... Okay, so I said the one kill earlier was my favorite. This one's kind of cool too because Eben just draws back his fist and he punches the vampire in the face, and it goes all the way through the vampire's head. Like, his fist comes out the back of the head vampire's head, and that shows us that he's strong and he's got.
And it makes me wonder if freshly turned vampires are stronger, because he's still.
I think that may go back to the discussion on how you get turned.
I don't remember. Yeah, and I don't remember which form of media it is. I don't remember if it was in a book or in a movie or what. It might be in Twilight, honestly. It might be in the Twilight books. New vampires are strongest because they still have the human blood in them, so they have a lot of human blood in them, so it makes them stronger.
I don't think that's Twilight because she's pretty weak when she gets turned.
I don't know.
I don't think... I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't think it's Twilight.
Well, it could be like anything I
read. I think she's pretty weak when she first gets
It could be from City of Bones.
Let us know in the comments what it is that we're talking about, because we don't know.
Or maybe I made it up.
Maybe he dreamed it. So anyway, after Eben kills the head vampire, the other vampires just kind of look at each other and walk away.
Yeah. And it makes me think if one... it makes me wonder, because a lot of times vampires have some kind of charm ability. In lots of forms of media and stuff. They usually have thralls and stuff that people they can control. I wonder if he had some kind of power where he could control people he infected. If there's something he did to control the people he infected.
I didn't think about that.
It could just be he's the strongest leader and he knows how to get people and he's the oldest and that's why they respect him, but the way they flee after, I wonder if maybe there's something like that.
Or maybe they didn't want to be killed with their fists through their face.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter because, I mean, it's just world building stuff that we won't necessarily know, but as someone that writes stories, it's just something that I like to think about.
Right.
And I overanalyze everything. I was overanalyzing a cartoon the other day to my sister. Like...
So, fantastic movie, but then we get to the very end, and it's probably one of the saddest endings to a movie. And I don't watch romance and all that stuff, so for me this is pretty sad. We see Eben and Stella.
And at the very beginning of the movie, when Billy and Eben are looking at stuff and investigating stuff. They go to the spot where they can see the sunset really well. And Billy says, I brought Peggy here once. And Evan says, we all brought her.
We all did.
Yeah.
And he says not Peggy.
Yeah, he means every guy took the girl here on their first date. And so that kind of implies that Evan has at some point taken Stella here.
Right.
And so they're sitting there at this point.
Which is one of the bloopers or the goofs in the movie that I was reading about, was the sun doesn't rise and set in the same spot.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the movie, we're watching the sun set there, and
Yeah.
then at the beginning or at the end, we're watching it rise there.
Oh, and I meant to say this too about the vampires. Another reason they might have fled, and probably the actual reason, is the sun's coming out.
That's
You can
true.
see it through the clouds.
That's true. So Stella and Evan are sitting there watching the sunrise,
Yeah.
and well, before he went out to face the vampire, he told Jake, he said, look after Stella. You know, he just, this heartfelt, like, I love her, take care of her.
It's just them two and the brick wall that was built between them.
Right. And there's...
Oh, I was making a sort of a reference.
I know. So they're sitting there, and they're kind of snuggled up together, and the sun starts to come up, and he starts to burn.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not like he catches on fire. It's just like
It's like the outer layer. Yeah, the outer layer turns to ash.
And so it's painful. Obviously, we
Yeah.
saw that with the female vampire. But so she's kind of holding on to him, and he's in pain. And then it kind of pans back, and you can see part of him.
Is this when she
holding
says, "Why did I ever leave you"?
Maybe.
At some point, she said that.
Yeah. And so that's how the movie ends. We see him kind of floating off in the wind. Have you? So did you do any research into the second one?
No, I just did a quick search and saw that there were some, I think, a miniseries and stuff. I'd like to know if there's more comics too.
Well, I know I've seen the sequel, but it's been a long time ago. But I want to say Stella goes after the vampires in the sequel. Don't quote me on that. I could be completely wrong, but it's kind of how they set up the ending of the first one.
I don't know how well I would like it if it turns into like a blade hunting vampire type story.
Well, I just think this movie's scary. I mean, we haven't really done one that scares either one of us yet. We've done more of the campy and then the actiony ones. But this one is scary.
It's not something that like will keep me up at night or that I can't watch at night. Like it's not that kind of thing for me. I know it is for you. A lot of times what I have though is psychological stuff is what stays in my mind and I keep thinking about. I mean, it is a good movie. I liked it. I'll watch it again. It'd be great to put in a rotation if you like horror movies. It's up there. It's good.
It's just the way they did the vampires are so scary. I mean, they're just, from the way they talk to the way they look to their
it's
teeth,
like uncanny valley because even their eyes are a little bit off.
Right. I mean, it's for me, it's everything about the way they did the vampires. I don't live in Alaska. I'm not gonna have 30 days of night. I know vampires aren't gonna come down the hallway and get me. But it's one of those that kind of gets in your mind, in the back of your mind, like, that doorway's pretty dark. So, highly recommend you watch this movie. It's one of my favorites. I'll watch it forever.
I'll definitely watch it again.
Next week we will be doing 2018's Hellfest.
Yes.
Which we're excited about.
It's like a modern slasher.
Yes. And then the next week we will be doing our first book review, A Hatred of Mondays by Brian Keith McDonald.
And you need to buy that book and read it before we review it.
Yes, you should.
It's really good.
Yes, it's funny. Garfield goes crazy. So anyway, thanks for listening, and if you have any ideas of what we should do next, let us know in the comments.